It's the Las Vegas Sportsline.
All right, here we go. It's the Wednesday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. With the handicapping trifecta taking place today with Teddy Covers, Ted Savransky, Patrick Everson from Covers.com. I'm Dave Koken. Mark Seidel's producing the show, and we've got a full hour of analysis, previews, talking about some of the line moves that are taking place. Before we do that, though, we can talk about, this is a great game. What a game at T-Mobile last night. If you watched the game in person or if you watched it on TV, Golden Knights, Teddy, they pick up I think the 2 points they probably wanted more than any other 2 points in the regular season as they defeat the Washington Capitals. This was a great game.
Sure, and Stanley Cup Finals revenge meant something last night, you know? It really did. The Knights certainly came with extra effort and had to rally from behind to do it, which certainly impressive. But you talked about it. You know, this is a team that's played much better hockey over the last, 2 or 3 weeks, and the bookmaker's probably not too pleased with it, the result last night, and hoping that this hot streak for the Knights doesn't last too much longer.
And we'll point out that good news, there is no suspension coming for Ryan Reeves, who just absolutely laid out Tom Wilson on a call that I thought was a bad call by the officials. Maybe a 2-minute minor for interference, not a 5-minute major. He just absolutely laid Wilson out, but he basically got penalized for playing hockey in 2018. They're kid gloves. Referees all have kid gloves on right now. Patrick, that was fun last night. The crowd was insane. A lot of action on the Golden Knights, and those people got paid.
Yes, they did. They got paid well. In fact, I was just going back and forth literally moments before I got in here, texting with John Murray at the Superbook, and he said, when it got to 4-3 on the Schmidt goal, obviously that was going to be a loser for the books. But the empty netter,
sure.
The puck line kill. He said them covering the puck line was a pretty big deal. Cost us about 3 times what we were going to lose at 4-3. So
I didn't even think of that.
People love betting that puck line, and you get and how many times last year was that something that they covered it a lot on their own. They played a bunch of spectacular games where they scored a ton of goals. But they had a lot of goals where late, they were up 1 and dumped in an empty netter. And
empty netters matter a lot. That's one of the things. One of the reasons why I tend not to get involved with hockey the way I do the other sports is because of those empty netters at the end of the game. They're going to affect your totals a whole lot too.
Yeah. Well, I'm not much of a totals player, so I don't care about it. I rarely play the puck line. It's normally money line plays for me. By the way, Schmidt, what a difference he's made. He scores the winning goal and then, for good measure, gets the empty net goal. But you're right, Patrick. That's a massive swing because you're talking about what? I don't even know what the money line was, a puck line was, but probably about plus 165 maybe, somewhere in that range, minus 1.5. So that was a big empty net goal. No question about that. Golden Knights have won 6 out of 7. Next up, it's the Blackhawks. Should get a great crowd at T-Mobile for that, as the Blackhawks are obviously a very popular team, even though they are now just a shadow of what they once were. They're a bad hockey team. And the Golden Knights will have to guard against the letdown coming out of the Washington game. They will be big favorites in that game. Speaking of favorites, we've got 4 games to talk about, and we'll tell you about our favorite jewelry store in the process as we head to the That's
a segue and a half.
I was reaching for a segue there and finally found one. I just kind of picked it out of the air. We go to our MJ Christensen Diamonds 4 at 4.
1, 2, bring it to the 4.
Put them 4s up. Put the 4s up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline. 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2,
I'll fiddle
not
around
3.
and look for this. In the meantime, I can tell you that. Oh, I was speaking over the. Let's see, I didn't tell you. You faked me out there, buddy. I thought we were ready to go, and I'm talking over the T's. Okay, my headset's got unplugged. Right now at MJ Christensen, right now. Now you already know they're the home for diamonds, pre-owned Rolex watches, but what you might not know is they've got some of the coolest lines of really affordable fashion jewelry. And you're talking about prices that start as low as like $49. So not everything you buy has to be really expensive. Let the holiday shopping begin. Enjoy sales every day with savings of up to 60% off on select designers. Stop by for great deals. By the way, fresh baked cookies And free parking right outside the store. A lot easier than the malls, guys. MJ Christensen at Boca Park. Holiday gifts for everyone located in Boca Park and now open on Sundays. And we start things off with an Eastern Conference battle north of the border in Toronto as the Raptors play host to the 76ers. Patrick, what's going on with the line in this game?
Well, I was checking this out with the Superbook as well. Just a little bit of movement earlier today from 6 to 6.5 on the home team Raptors. Two really good teams here. This was a game I was talking about with Jeff Stoneback at the Mirage on Monday. We were kind of lining up some games that were going on during the week that would be noteworthy, and this is certainly one of them. But Raptors at home and with the best record in the league, certainly going to get some attention here. Raptors coming off a loss as well as Teddy. The Denver Nuggets got them last time out. The Nuggets, by the way, have their big guy is just best kids. Teddy wants that on the down low, man. That's his That's
whatever
his
you're
secret
talking
sauce.
about with Denver, that's the key. Yeah, exactly. Nuggets have been nice little moneymakers for me.
I saw a stat on their main man, who's
Jokic, Nikola Jokic.
Okay.
It's J.O. Joker, they call him.
He's got, I think he's got 3 triple-doubles already this year.
Easy, yeah, sure. And probably a couple where he's come just short.
Well, and he's got, like, no other centers do this. He's so far and away the best passing big man in the league. There's nobody even close.
Agreed.
And the stat sheet shows
flat
that.
out. And of course, he's bringing it on the defensive end as well, which, when you've got a center who can shoot inside, who can, who can shoot outside, who can bang in the paint, who can play defense, and who can pass. That's a nice little skill set.
The Spurs and the Lakers will match up tonight. We always put the Lakers in the 4-4 or a marquee matchup or whatever if they're playing, because it's as simple as this. Now that the LeBron James era has begun with the Lakers, they are extraordinarily high volume every game, Teddy. I mean, it doesn't matter who they're playing. And tonight they're playing the Spurs, so there's going to be a lot of action written on this game.
Sure, but I mean, whatever the Spurs were, this is not a good basketball team right now in San Antonio. And, we saw it again last night. Of course, it'll be on the second night of back-to-backs here after getting annihilated in Utah. And, we saw them get annihilated against Minnesota and Houston, and they bounced back with a nice win over Portland. But they did it the game against Portland. They hit the 50 made field goals in 83 attempps. I mean, it's all
not going to shoot like that every night.
Shooting, exactly. Defensively, they're a very weak. They're a bad defensive team right now, and that's certainly reflected with the total tonight. But I believe the last under, they've got 8-0-1 to the over. The last 9 for San Antonio. They haven't cashed an under since well before Thanksgiving.
What do you figure the premium is on Lakers at home? Is it like an extra point to where the true line is, just because they know they're going to get tons of Lakers action, and the global market or not, the Lakers are popular everywhere. So to me, it's you just go ahead and add the point and make people pay a penalty.
Well, I mean, the Lakers have been covering numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 3 in a row for L.A., and we'll talk about the Lakers' total trends when it comes to the angle of the day later in the show. There's a segue.
That's a very good segue and tease. Nebraska and Minnesota. These are big games for Nebraska. They had the clunker against Texas Tech. But outside of that, Miles has got him playing good basketball. And they're going in as the favorite tonight against Minnesota, Ricky Pitino's team. Or Richard Pitino's team, I guess you should say. By the way, notice he does not take after the old man as far as hairlines are concerned. Richard is already, he's got that pattern baldness thing starting. So, if he wants to be like that, he's going to have to get that taken care of now before it becomes more noticeable. Anyway, Golden Gophers are not a bad team, but the Cornhuskers are attracting some attention right now. Anything happening with the number in this one, Patrick?
Yeah, definitely. Superbook, another one I touched on with them. Kind of interesting movement here. Open Nebraska 3, up to 4.5 on the Huskers a little bit earlier this morning. But now we've regressed back to 3.5. So a little interesting back and forth on that number for sure.
That sounds like it might have been sharp money early on the favorite, and maybe a little buyback on what is perceived as kind of a popular home dog here, Teddy.
Well, I mean, when you look at the long-term point spread trends for these two teams, I mean, you couldn't see arrows pointing in more different directions. Nebraska has been a huge moneymaker. Moneymaker down the stretch last year. Every game covering. I think I got them 24-6 against
Wow.
the number of their last 30. I mean,
It's
they made
amazing.
a fortune, and they've come out of the gate this year in covering. Minnesota, 9-22 their last 31, but they've been covering numbers of late, and they've been winning games at home. And that's something worth noting. Certainly playing, I would say the Gophers are better than we expected them to be.
I think that's fair.
And Nebraska is what we expected them. I mean, you thought Nebraska was going to be good.
Yeah, and
Minnesota's-
Palmer may take them further than people thought. He's really good. If he stays out of foul trouble, he's a game changer.
And we got breaking news, and we should probably give it out. Goldschmidt to St. Louis. Mark?
Oh, no,
What
I
do
did
you
not
got?
see this.
Yep, because coming down Goldschmidt, to the Cardinals. Luke Weaver, Carson Kelly, Andy Young, and a draft pick headed back to Arizona. So quite a haul for Arizona.
Well, man, a better haul for St. Louis because Goldschmidt's a great player. Carson Kelly, I don't think he's ever going to hit. Okay, he's good defensively. Luke Weaver, I'm not sure. He was a disappointment last year.
Sure, he's had his
all
moments.
over the. Yeah, he's got ability, and if they can harness the consistency out of him, he's got a chance to be a good pitcher. But
Corbin gone and Goldie gone. That's the heart
yeah,
of that team.
that sounds like a sell on the part of Arizona. So
Man, I wanted him in Houston so bad.
I bet you
I
did.
was
Well, you
hoping the
want
Astros.
everybody.
Of course I do, but that's the one position the Astros really, really lack in.
And it's a one team. I don't know.
So, no. Good get for St. Louis, though.
yeah, and we'll see
Great
if the
get.
Cardinals can sign him long term, because that's the kind of guy who can be an anchor for a team for a long, long time. All right, good stuff there. Let's go back to the previews, and we'll look at a good rivalry game tonight. TCU and SMU will battle. The game is in Dallas. SMU is the home team. TCU has had one game where they kind of had a stumble. Outside of that, he's got him playing good ball. I think SMU, a lot of people are down on them this year, but, Jankovic's a good coach. And I think SMU is going to hang in there and be in the mix in what is a down AAC.
And, sorry.
No, fire away.
Yeah, I was just saying, we talk about under-the-radar team trends. SMU has played, I guess they played bad. In their last, they open up the season with an under.
Okay.
Since that time, they have played 8 games, and all 8 of them have gone over the total, and many of them have gone over the total by pretty big margins. So when you look at that with TCU, who's been cashing under tickets for much of the season, and it's worth noting, twice in their last 5 games, TCU has shot better than 50% from the floor, and the game has still gone under the total, which speaks volumes about the defense the Horned Frogs are playing in early season.
And we got just a modest move in the line on this at Superbook from TC. SMU's getting a point and a half at home after opening as 1-point underdog. So just a modest move there in TCU's favor.
All right. Time for us to check out some college bowls. We're going to save the 2 playoff games for later in the show and tell you what's happening as far as the line movement there and some assessments that Teddy and myself can offer. Patrick, let's talk about some of the early games, and I know you've been speaking with the books around town, as you always do on a daily basis. Where are we seeing some action? Well, not action, but respected enough action to cause line movement in some of the minor bowls, if you will.
Right, and some of them are even outside of the CFP or even major ones. Rose Bowl, Washington against Ohio State. This one got a little bit of a bump. I was talking about this with Derek Wilkinson at the Superbook, and this went a little different than he expected it to go. It opened Buckeyes -5.5. It's up to 6.5 now.
Well, that's
How can
I mean,
Urban
that's-
Meyer
I
says he's
think
going to
everybody-
retire after the game.
Yeah,
you had to know money's going to come on Ohio State.
it actually.
Yeah, well, I think-
originally it had gone down because this went 5.5, 4 went down to 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you that I was going to play Washington. I'll get out of it now, but as soon as the Meyer announcement broke, it's just money pouring into the Buckeyes.
Right, and I think he was thinking, maybe not taking all that into account, but he said he still felt a little high to him. But obviously, the action has taken it even higher, up to 6.5.
I think it's going to get to 7.
I would guess
I'm
it probably
confident
will.
I'll get to 7.
7. In fact, I'll say I don't think they want to go through 7 because then they'll get all the math guys coming in on the other side. But I'm going to say 7 Minus 125?
You think a quarter? You think
I think it could be on game day. By game day.
At some books, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Of course, the Huskies probably fit your